News Talk Radio WOBM-AM 1160 and 1310 presents Townsquare Tonight. Your chance to speak with Jersey Shore newsmakers about the issues that affect you. Call 732-505-1160. Now from WOBM News, Townsquare Tonight on News Talk Radio WOBM-AM 1160, 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
When you think state lawmaker, on top of most of our minds this week, it's the impending vote on that 23-cent hike in New Jersey's gasoline tax. Well, it's on their minds as well. But it's far from the only thing on the mind of our guest in the town square tonight. Say hello to Assemblyman Eric Hotelling of Monmouth's 11th Legislative District. We're not talking politics with the Assemblyman. What a break.
That's great.
Because while that's on the top of his mind, his consuming passion is the struggle against pancreatic cancer. Much of this man's time and energy in 2016 is dedicated to raising funds for awareness and research. He also hopes to win approval for recognition of November each year as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. How does it feel not to have to talk about everything in Trenton right now?
It's great, and thank you.
Welcome in. I know it's your first time here. And
it is.
25-cent tour, and showed you all the gizmos. And now that we've done that and you've gotten yourself acclimated, let's get down to the real business at hand here. And that is a disease that just seems to have no way to conquer. Decades and decades have gone by. There's been progress, but it's so minuscule next to what's been done with tuberculosis, with what's been done with scarlet fever. You can run down a laundry list of diseases that have been stymied. Not this. What brings you and what drives you to focus on pancreatic cancer?
Well, Tom, a long time ago, before I was married, and my sister just got married to her husband, and his father was sick for the longest time, and nobody knew what he had. He would go to the doctor, he would come back and say, yeah, these doctors don't know what's going on, they don't know anything. But he never felt better, and he would go to the doctor again and come back, and it'd be the same thing. And, finally he went and they did some kind of a test. I'm not sure what it was they did for him, and, they diagnosed him with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And, after that, the end was very near for him, and that was over 40 years ago. And, as I look around now and I see what's going on, and it seems like when I was the mayor of Neptune in 2013, it just seemed to be people that I knew it happened to, and more than one, without a good result. And great people, and when they were diagnosed, they were gone very, very soon. And when you have that diagnosis, you really need to get your stuff in order, the rest of your life in order. And so I had an opportunity as the mayor, and at the time, Tommy Arnone was the Monmouth County Freeholder Director, and we got together the following year in 2014, and we put this Pound of Pavement for Cancer committee together, and it was made up of volunteers from Neptune Township, and very proud. A lot of them are our township employees who volunteered, and there's a lot that goes into our Pound of Pavement for Cancer group. And then we brought some specialists in here of those who know how to do a run, and our committee was born, and we've been trying to raise funds.
So Pound of Pavement for Cancer, that committee is still active?
Yes.
Okay, and how are you going about creating the awareness and raising the funds? What's your methodology?
Well, if you were to go into Neptune right now, I'm very proud of this, in Neptune and Neptune City, we have the signboards that you see flashing all over.
Mm-hmm.
We have about maybe 6 of them in the town talking about our pancreatic cancer event, flashing the 988-5200, 231 extension for information about this. And that's one thing. We got some banners hanging up, but most of it has been by word of mouth, and writing letters and a letter campaign, and trying to reach out to individuals that would help us and companies. And we're just all funded by volunteers and contributions.
What do you have upcoming in terms of events?
Saturday, this Saturday coming October 8th in Neptune, we have our pancreatic cancer run walk, which is a certified 5K and a walk of maybe almost 2 miles. And that's Saturday at 10 o'clock on Old Corley's Avenue at the home of the Veterans Memorial Park. Sign up is at 8:30 and the walk starts at 10 and the run.
What's the entry fee?
The entry fee is $30 sign up at the event. Right now, our early registration is over, but you can go there 8:30, sign up, $30. You get a nice T-shirt, and you get a great opportunity to be with some great people.
Yeah, it really attracts a special breed of people, doesn't it?
The runners are there really for the 5K because it's certified 5K, but we have a lot of runners that come, and they all have a common bond when they come, and that's one of the things that I like. Everybody knows somebody that is affected, and they want to do what they can to help, and we're giving them right now an avenue to do that, and we're very happy to do this.
Assemblyman Eric Hotelling is our guest in the Town Square tonight, and we're discussing an issue that's near and dear to him, and it has nothing to do with the state legislature. It's about the fight against pancreatic cancer. There must have been a point at which, with this just lying around in the back of your head and not going away, there must have been a point at which you said, well, how do I even explain this to anybody? Was there any hesitancy on your part, like, nobody's going to listen to this? Did that run through your head at all?
Well, actually, when I was the mayor, the Monmouth County asked us if we would support a pancreatic cancer awareness in November. And they gave us the paperwork, and we submitted that. And what the town did, we raised money by, on Friday, employees could wear jeans and things like that, and little donations. So we raised a little bit of money for the pancreatic cancer awareness. And, that following year, like I had said, that was people that I knew that had died from that. And one of them, again, was my sister's best friend, her lifelong friend. And my sister actually questioned her that, she was a little bit on the yellowish side. And she went to the doctor, and sure enough, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She was a very close friend of mine. And Tommy Arnone's as well. She was a well-known person in Neptune area, Neptune City. And, that kind of stimulated some things with me, and there was some other folks that same thing had happened with them, and we just started talking about it and said, hey, maybe we can. And I got to tell you, my town responded to this 100%, and with our respect, there's a lot that goes on to putting an event, and our town has really done wonders, and Neptune City has helped us out quite a bit, and Monmouth County Sheriff's Department is there with us, and Basically, it's Neptune Township and the Monmouth County have come together for this event in Neptune. And the first year we had it, it was very challenging because we had a nor'easter on that day. But we still had over 200 people showed up, and we still raised $35,000. So, the weather was very bad, but, it ended up great.
After you raise the money, then where do you dedicate it? How do you decide where it's going?
Well, as soon as we had formed our committee, we researched all the different forms of, who's doing research for pancreatic cancer, and we chose the Lustgarten Foundation because all the money that they get goes for cancer research. At the time, they were underwritten by Cablevision because Mark Lustgarten worked for Madison Square Garden, and the Dolan family. At the time, when Mark Lustgarten was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, they said, hey, listen, we're going to try to do something to have a fundraiser for you. And they had formed the Lustgarten Foundation, and shortly thereafter, Mark Lustgarten died, so they continued that. And that's why Cablevision at the time underwrote all of the expenses that go with the Lustgarten Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, they have continued with that, so there's really Lustgarten Foundation, all the money you donate to them goes towards pancreatic cancer research.
You're really steeped in history on this, aren't you?
Yeah.
And now, you mentioned the yellowing. And I'm glad you brought that up because I did a little reading about this. And one of the things I learned that the appearance of a jaundice-like appearance is one of the external signs that first shows up. But what I didn't know was that by the time that starts to manifest itself, it's already spreading. It's not as though it's early detection. You're already in a situation that requires immediate help.
Yeah.
That I was not aware of.
Well, the early detection, I mean, some people will get jaundice, but not everybody. So that's one of the things. There's really no stable way to say that,
There's a
early
list
detection.
There's a list of about a half. There are actually two types.
Yeah.
There's I wrote them down. There's exocrine and neuroendocrine, and they both have separate manifestations,
but same result.
But the same result.
And even the treatment for it, because the tumors are like crystallized and they're very hard to get to with medication. So there's a lot to this. Pancreatic cancer could be the third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in 2016, with very low money from major cancer organizations for research. So, one of the things that I have done since I've been on the New Jersey State Assembly, and very proud to have done this, is we have created AJR 103, which is a state law now in New Jersey that November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month.
You got that one over the goal line.
We did. Senate approved it, Assembly approved it, and our governor did sign that. So we have also reached out to any other state that does not have this, and we're trying to go nationwide with pancreatic cancer awareness.
Let's talk about that bill. Now it's a law, okay? And there are a lot of designations for a lot of months for a lot of different causes. How do you substantiate it now? I mean, it's one thing to just say, "Oh, yeah, it's pancreatic cancer month," and then, I didn't send you a card. But how do you substantiate it and give it depth so that it doesn't just go out of mind as soon as the day is over?
Well, it's all about making awareness for it. That's one of the things that we really want, is creating awareness of. So it's not anything that's really not discussed. It's something that is discussed, and people can talk about how terrible it is, and how. And I'm sure every one of your listeners probably has known someone that this has happened to, and so that's basically what it is: creating awareness. And the more awareness that we can create, hopefully we can create more funding for research, and we can really get something going for early diagnosis. That's what we really need, is early diagnosis, so you can have an opportunity, if you get this disease, to try to live a normal life.
Our guest tonight in the Townsquare is Assemblyman Eric Hotelling from up in the 11th District in Monmouth County. Former mayor of Neptune.
Former mayor of Neptune, yeah.
And on a quest to beat a disease. One of the things that bothers me is that the solution still remains elusive after all these years. We've learned that tobacco doesn't help. We've learned, there are different forms and it manifests itself in different ways. We know how it gets, and we know so many ways about how it gets there, but there doesn't seem to be a way around it or a way to beat it. I went through this with so many relatives.
Yeah.
It's insidious. And it starts it starts imperceptibly, then works into a tumor, then it metastasizes. And eventually, whether it's pancreatic or any other cancer, the very things that are nourishing you are nourishing the disease.
Yeah.
And you're on a downward spiral, and you can't get out of it. The only way to do it is to stop eating. And the end of that is so painful. So I know exactly what's driving you on this. And I'm sure if you're listening or you're watching, you've been through this too. You know how painful that can be. When you go out in front of people, is all of that in the back of your head when you're talking about this in crowds, or you're at a community meeting?
Well, what's important is just try to get the people to, like I said, this is a real reality. It's not anything that anybody's made up, and we've thrown some numbers out here that 8% survival rate after 5 years. These are real things that happen, and not a lot is being done about it, and it's a shame. Really, it is. It's 2016. You know, my sister's father-in-law died from it 40 years ago, and nothing really has changed. We haven't come very far curing this disease.
No,
Things need to be done.
we're 50 years since the Surgeon General's report,
Yeah,
when it started to become, hey, you can get this. I mean,
yeah,
asbestos. I mean, there are so many different ways of contracting.
yeah.
And where it lands is a lot of times dependent upon what you did for a living or what your habits were. Do you know what any of the contributing factors are that would land it in the pancreas? Is there anything
No. That's one of the things, it's like hitting the lottery in the worst way, basically, because this thing can happen to anybody at any age. It doesn't matter how much money you have, and, as much money as Patrick Swayze, when I heard that he had it, I was like, okay, here's a guy with a lot of money. He's going to be able to beat this thing. And he could not beat it. So money, you can't beat it with money. We have to beat it with research. And, we got to put those dollars in there, and we got to find a cure.
Yeah, and one of the things I also learned about it was that if it starts in the pancreas, it very often migrates to the liver. And when it starts spreading and eventually gets to the brain, it always winds up in the same scenario.
Yeah. It's very difficult, too, because it's in a very difficult area. It's not anything.
Yeah, it's hard to reach.
It's right in the middle of a lot of your key organs, and it's not a very big organ. It's kind of a small organ, and just very hard to get to. So it's a very, very difficult cancer. But if you're coming down with that, these are not the things you want to hear. You want to hear, guess what? We've got a cure for this. That's what you want to hear, and that's what we're working towards. That's why we're trying to raise money.
Assemblyman Eric Hotelling is with us tonight, and he's behind the 5K run walk that's going to take place this Saturday in Neptune Township. Where's it going to be again? By Veterans Park?
By the brand new Neptune Veterans Park that we have on Old Corley's Avenue. Sign up is at 8:30. The run starts at 10, and the walk starts at about 10:15.
Excellent. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, and we hope you'll stick around. And I want to remind you that after this half hour, we're going to continue Townsquare tonight with a renegade Republican who's running for Ocean County Freeholder. He's running by himself as an independent. That's Barnegat Mayor John Novak. So stick around for that. Meantime, we'll be right back.
There has never been a better time to show law enforcement that we care. Help WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and the Jay and Linda Grunin Foundation salute our law enforcement heroes at Ocean County with Huddle for Heroes. It's a program designed to showcase the many charitable, community-oriented events that our local law enforcement organizations are hosting. Together, we stand behind the people who stand on the line for us every day. Check out WOBMAM.com for upcoming local law enforcement charity events and more information.
By now, you've heard all about the wonderful care Preferred Home Healthcare offers their seniors. But did you know that they specialize in ventilator-dependent adults and pediatric patients, offering all of their patients compassionate and qualified care? They do it all. For more information, call 1-800-603-CARE or visit preferredcares.com. Home healthcare with feeling.
At Preferred Home Healthcare, you're in preferred company.
Be a part of the conversation. Call now, 732-505-1160. Townsquare Tonight. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
We're back with Assemblyman Eric Hotelling of the 11th District in Monmouth County as our guest in the Townsquare tonight. We've been discussing pancreatic cancer and the fight against it. Now, just a reminder again, this Saturday, October 8th, there'll be a 5K run walk on it'll start on Old Corley's Avenue by Veterans Park in Neptune. And it's the step-off is at 10, and this is to raise money for research into pancreatic cancer. This money will go to the Lustgarten Foundation.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's something that very rarely do you find an elected official who wants to step away from that arena and just focus on something that is so close to him that he just can't keep it to himself. Most people would just do it quietly on the side, and years later you'd say, well, there's a lot you didn't know about it. He did this and that, but you're really upfront about this, and you have been most of this year. actually since you started the committee?
Well, sometimes the positions that you have to try to utilize them for what's good. And the woman that we deal with at the Lust Garden Foundation, she said what is so unique about our event is that we are the only event that has politicians involved with it. Really. I thought she was kidding. She goes, no, I'm not kidding. And politicians stay away from this. They like to come and talk, but they don't like to be the ones really down there trying to raise the funds and get the people to come out, because it's hard work and it's dedication. And I've been at this now for probably 2 months. I know Tommy Arnone's out there working on it. Our Pound the Pavement for pancreatic cancer has been out there working on it, and it's just a lot that goes into it. And we always hope for a great result.
How much would you say the committee has raised since you formed?
Well, this year will put us over $100,000 that we'll be able to give to the Lust Garden Foundation.
Sizable sum, and
I
that's
think
dollar
so.
by dollar. That's not calling up a few people and getting
That's
10
a lot
and
of
20 here.
phone calls, talking to people, and encouraging people to come on out and support us.
It's a lot of knocking on doors.
Yeah. Well, the first year we had it, one of the jobs that I did take on as a committee person was to go to every house along the route and tell them what was going on, which was a couple hundred.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked that whole route and gave everybody the schedule, what was going on, and an application as well. So, you're not going to be able to get out of your house, but maybe you can join us in our event. And that was the first year. And,
Let me ask you something. As a man who's led a town and who now represents a region, this related to this specific issue, has it given you a different way of looking at the people you represent?
Well, I like to look at people as always willing to help. And when there's something out there that's worthwhile helping, I think most people will be willing to help you with it. And we have found that out. I mean, this year, right up to now, we have over 300 people that have signed up to support this. And we usually get a lot on the day of the event. So, yeah, I always try to find and hope for the best with people.
And by the same token, do people come up to you and say, you're not like a regular assemblyman? Do they do that?
I've had a few people say that, yeah. Or good or bad, but yeah.
But does the need to keep hitting the streets, does that give you a kind of a different rapport than you might have expected? Having to spend half your time out in Trenton and then get back here to the district office and then work everything else you do during the week?
Well, I knew getting on the assembly would be very time consuming, and so that's why in April I retired from being an electrician. I was an IBEW member for over 40 years. So it was a good time to step down from that and start this career, which is very busy, more busy than working a 40-hour job, I may add. So it keeps me very, very busy because it's not just 5 days a week, it's 7 days a week. And, I get out. But, I kind of enjoy it. We get to go to a lot of charitable events. I meet with a lot of charities, a lot of 501(c)(3)s. And, we've been exploring the 11th District since myself and Joanne Downey were elected. And we're getting out and talking to a lot of people, going to a lot of events. I was lucky enough to be on the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee, so I've been on a lot of agriculture tours throughout the state, Salem County and Camden County. We've been all over. Actually, we went up to Newark, and I got another event up in Newark because they have a greenhouse in downtown Newark where they work with the veterans. So, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of agriculture, and I've been able to introduce a lot of bills to help. One of the things I like to do is farm to table, and we've done farm to table, farm to restaurant, farm to schools, and do all that we can to promote the farming industry in the state because this is our salvation. We are the garden state, and we need to keep it that way.
Yeah, the whole Jersey Fresh branding.
Jersey Fresh.
That was actually a pioneering move.
Yeah.
Now it's everywhere. No matter what state you go to. It's going to be on, and if you go out to eat, it's going to be on the menu, locally sourced.
Yeah.
And everybody's making like it's a big deal, but we've been doing it for years over here.
Yeah. I actually had last week the Secretary of Agriculture came to Asbury Park to look at a Kula Cafe and a greenhouse we've had on Springwood Avenue, which, you would have mentioned about a greenhouse on Springwood Avenue 10 years ago in Asbury Park. People would have looked at you like you're crazy. But that has done so much good for that area. Right across the street, they have built a new park over there. So that is really revitalizing the west side of Asbury. So there's a lot of good things being done with agriculture, and I'm very, very happy to be on that agriculture committee.
Now, aren't you glad I didn't ask you about the gas tax?
Absolutely. I think we're out of time.
You knew I was going to get around to it, though, didn't you? We want to invite you again to stick around. Our guest in the second half of the program is going to be Barnegat Mayor John Novak, who is staging an independent run to become an Ocean County freeholder. I think you'll be surprised at some of his insights and some of the reasons why he's running. But in the meantime, Saturday, October 8th, 5K run walk, all organized by the On the Pavement
The purple.
for Purple Committee.
Yes.
And the proceeds will go to the Lust Garden Foundation. So hope you can make it there. Townsquare Tonight is a presentation of Townsquare Media New Jersey's Shore News Division. Technical coordination and call facilitation is by Mark Anthony. Video and audio coordination by Bradley James and Tom Tremblay. Program and consultation is by Steve Artelina. And Townsquare New Jersey's Vice President of News Operations is Eric Scott. Thank you for listening, and by all means, stay tuned.
This has been Townsquare Tonight, a presentation of WOBM News. To find out more about tonight's show and stay up to date on everything happening in your hometown, log on to WOBMAM.com. News Talk Radio,